Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
I'm Nick Gambarian.
And I am ready to walk the plank again. Let's do this, boys.
Walk it out.
Skeleton Crew. Walk it out. It's Mike Forster. How are we feeling a whole 24 hours later after what I would think for most people be the hype train has left the station and some people have gotten off, but I haven't seen anybody get off the hype train for this one.
Yeah.
I feel great about Star Wars.
Yes.
And that's all.
Yeah. The comments. I get what you're saying, Adam. The comment sections are pretty good, man. Comment sections are pretty positive.
It's kind of a flex when Star Wars posts on their official account the next day a bunch of the little like quote reviews, and it's like fresh in the galaxy, like loved this was awesome, Entertainment Weekly, and I'm like, you know what, I like it. It makes me feel good.
It's about damn time.
And I think from at least what I'm gathering is that we severely missed out. Our friend Jason Chiodo and a couple other friends who were able to go to the premiere last night in Disneyland, the activation. What the heck?
They saw 3 episodes.
That was happening.
Why? What is going on here?
What list am I not on?
I don't know.
We're on no lists.
We
Apparently.
need
Zero
to figure
lists.
this out. People need to get real about Thank the Maker. We are just like, we're just people just like you. And we are on no lists.
It's just people.
We can only get into each other's shows at festivals and shitty theaters and clubs.
And that's worked out. Actually, I think I've benefited most from that because they are expensive and we do know that. So go ahead and send us a DM. The other part though, what I think is really great about Skeleton Crew as a whole is the amount, and I know that this maybe resonates a little bit more with me because I'm a dad, but like the amount of people that generally I feel are a little unsure of where to go with Star Wars in regards to like introducing their family to it. Super wholesome seeing people be like, I watched this with my kids and they thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there we go. That's what we're waiting for.
Yep. It's time.
Onboarding.
And you would hope that this onboarding, like we talked a little bit about last night, would flow into some other things that aren't as easy to get on board with when you're a kid. You know what I mean? Like the Obi-Wan series or Ahsoka, different things that you need an entry point.
Right.
You need a low stakes entry point that you can relate to as a child. Now we have that, and then these kids are going to want to see more lightsabers. They're going to want to see all the other cool ships and stuff. And we're back. We
are so back.
Well, it's just everything hit. We said it a little bit last night. It's like vibe is there, music was good, intrigue, the kids. We got a Jedi. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Oh,
who knows? A Force user.
Hashtag more to come. More to come.
But let's get into this episode. We got a lot of stuff to chew through. I think it was really fun watching it last night, trying to take a mental note of all the things I had to remember, and then to come on and talk about it tonight with fresh eyes is really great because there is a ton to chew through. And
Absolutely.
Like I said last night, there wasn't anything that necessarily, there wasn't some big character reveal that you were like, well, if you didn't watch 3 seasons of Clone Wars, don't you know who that is? It was very much, I think most of the Easter eggs were there for people who appreciated it. And I think that's what John Watts had kind of said. We want to make it so that if you're a huge Star Wars fan, you're going to be rewarded. And if you're not a Star Wars fan, you're going to enjoy the show. And I think that's a great approach to have to it. Because I go back to thinking at times of when the Night Owls came, saved Din Djarin in season 2 of Mandalorian. And I remember, wow, oh my gosh, it's Bo-Katan, right? Yeah. And my friends who enjoyed the Mandalorian were like, who's that? She's got a cool helmet. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, here we go. This could go 2 ways, right? I could either overwhelm them with Star Wars knowledge, or they can just enjoy the show for what it is. Sometimes
Either way,
like that.
either way is fine.
Either way is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Either way,
It's a fine ID. It's a fine ID. All right. So last night was immediate reactions. Tonight is a deep dive. So in Thank the Maker style, as we always do, let's do some stolen plans.
What have you done with those plans?
Skeleton Crew, the series, premiered last night, December 2nd, 2024 on Disney+. It was a 2-episode premiere. Unless you saw it in person, you got to see 3. Runtime altogether, about 70 minutes put together. Before we get into the details of the episode, we have a pseudo crawl like we've had in some other series and other films, a few opening title cards. Which one of you dudes wants to put on your best movie voice and read this?
Ooh,
I'm doing it.
Nick, give me that silky
Out of my way.
Do it.
Out of my way, Mike. Since the fall of the Empire, the New Republic has maintained order, and yet remote hyperspace routes are increasingly plagued by piracy. These pirates boldly brand their armored hulls as a sign to all ships: surrender or die.
Die.
Wow. Okay.
Can I be a grammar and punctuation stickler? Just one of those guys. One of those people that you like to punch, that you want to.
It's that Jesuit schooling always forcing its way to the top here. Here we go. Go ahead.
This is George's fault.
Yep.
It's a 50-year-old mistake. The ellipsis at the end of the very first, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, has 4 dots instead of 3, and that is set precedent, and we see it again here.
Maybe it's just a stylistic choice at this point.
That's what you could say.
Sure.
Maybe that's how it is in that galaxy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bet you didn't think about that one, huh, nerd?
Oh, in Arabesh. Yep. 4 dots is an ellipsis. I stand so corrected.
Sancta Maria.
Now, Luke also says whole nother. So, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I think I do because I'm Midwestern. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Luke's from Michigan or Missouri, one of the
For
two.
sure. Yeah.
All right. Season 1, episode 1. This could be a real adventure is the title. Disney Plus description is desperate for intel. Hunter. Nope. That's I left that from before. That's really funny. Where did it go? I lost it. I typed it all in and then it went away. Because you know what?
If you're watching the show, you read it. Just read it again.
Yeah.
You drink, Jules.
Jules, you drink. You're drunk, so you drink.
Episode 2 is there.
Episode 2 is there, so I'll read that first while I get the other one up. Episode 2, a surprising first stop marks the beginning of an unexpected journey. The first episode, Disney Plus description is kids from an ordinary planet discover a surprising secret, which I 100% typed, and I guess I hit Command Z too many times.
Command Z.
Directed by John Watts, director, of course, of the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy. Written by Christopher Ford and John Watts. Christopher Ford wrote Spider-Man Homecoming. The two of them also worked on something else that I can't remember the name of. Something that I hadn't seen. Do you guys remember? It was a single film. It had a kind of a goofy name. Anyway, irrelevant. Starring, of course, Jude Law as Jod Nawood.
Jar Jar Narwood.
Jar Jar Narwood needs no introduction. If you're, I don't have the Pineapple Express quote, but I should right now. About the options for like how you act, and if when you're reincarnated, either you'll come back as an anal bead or you'll come back as Jude Law. It could go either way.
It is a risk we're willing to take.
Ryan Kira Armstrong is Fern. She was on 6 episodes of American Horror Story. Didn't watch that because I'm scared of everything.
Right.
She was also in the Tomorrow War, the Amazon Prime film with
Chris
Pratt, a.k.a. Andy Dwyer. And she played the young version of one of the Black Widows in the movie Black Widow.
Okay, got it. So she's better, she knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing.
Right.
Kriana Crater as KB. I didn't see anything notable that we would recognize in her IMDb. She's still young. She's done a handful of things, some shorts and stuff. Ravi Cabot Conyers as Wim. He's done a bunch of animated voices, actually. And the kid's got a great voice. I love his whole vibe. His biggest credit in the animation voice category is Antonio in Encanto.
Great little flick.
Great flick. Robert Timothy Smith as Neil. He was in that new movie. Is it an Apple TV Plus movie, Wolves, with Brad Pitt and
George Clooney
back together?
Okay.
And one episode of Mythic Quest, which is another amazing Apple
He's
TV
in
series.
that new Jack Black Christmas movie too, called Dear Santa, where Jack Black he like misspells the. No, it's called Dear Santa.
Satan, because he misspelled Santa.
Yeah, so Jack Black, Satan, whatever.
Yeah, classic mix-up.
Nick Frost as SM33, of course, from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and lots of other fun stuff. This next dude, Wim's dad, I'm not going to pronounce his name right. I'm terrible at this, but I'm going to try. Tundi
Adebimpe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wendell. He was in Twisters recently.
He's also the vocalist for TV on the Radio.
I did not know that. That's the dude you're referring to. I get it now.
Yes.
Right.
Well, if I listen to more music, I'd know how to pronounce his name.
Baby, don't you lay hands on me. You've heard that song for sure. Wolf Like Me is a banger.
I didn't recognize the sounds you just
Oh
made.
my gosh. All right. Well, we'll send it to you. It's
my Apple Music recap thing that I did today is very strange by most people's standards.
Share it, you coward.
I will. My number one artist is Lil Dicky, and then the rest of it is all movie score stuff. And my top song is The Ballad of the Witch's Road. It's a really strange combination of stuff.
Wow. Story of the year, guys. Try to see him on tour when they come to your town.
Catch him on the Witch's Road. And lastly, Jaleel White as Gunter Urkel, of course. There are plenty of other people in these two episodes, but these are the ones of note that
there's a lot of people in the pirate gang. I mean, we saw the older woman from Orange is the New Black, who is kind of she's been in the clink for the longest. I thought I saw Tate Fletcher in there for a second.
I definitely saw him last night. If you thought you saw him, I thought I saw him.
Okay, so you know what?
Right.
There we go. So we could.
Do we think that that's the same character from season 1, episode 1 of Mando? Putting this in a weird time, like
Ichuta.
It could not be. Yeah, it could not be.
Well, it
also could not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what? Let's text him and ask. We can figure this out. I like it though.
Have Sonfield text him. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I was thinking of? I wish we could edit our bingo card. I thought about this. Or did I say this last night on the I don't remember if I said it to you or you guys or Desi. I want Urkel's character to, in his current bad guy voice, say, "Did I do that?"
Do you think it's going to happen?
I don't know.
It's
no. Let it go. The eye roll would put the planet on its axis even worse than it already is.
I think I would bet that the idea was definitely tossed around, and there may be a line like we get some plays on words that are similar to other lines.
Or he just says, "I did that."
I did that, or one of them says, "Did you do that, or was that you?" Or something that just like,
"Did you do that?"
Yeah,
sure. It's possible. I mean, I don't know if you're him at this point, you're like, I've had a kind of a sleepy group. Like, come on, man, throw me a bone.
Do you think that him being in this show is along the lines of, I feel like Filoni and Favreau have put in like 80s, and I guess this is 90s actor, he's not an action hero, but there has been some sort of, at least like one nostalgic person like per season of their shows, I feel like.
Yeah.
I guess more Mando. Because like, what's the connection? It's not like they're boys. Well, I can't imagine they're boys.
I mean, you have, between Michael Biehn, I don't think it's a secret. Sigourney Weaver is in the new movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're just going through the '80s hit list and being like,
I mean,
call him
Carl
up.
Weathers, you know,
Carl
like
Weathers, 100%. Rest in
before
peace.
we even saw it, we were like, Carl Weathers is in this? Like, what is going on? You
And
know?
then he crushes.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like, amazing director, everything. So
I mean, if you think about it, it's in the Star Wars tradition. Lucas, I mean, he wanted to cast even more actors than he did.
grabbing Alec Guinness and
yeah, and
Yep.
I mean, because he wanted to cast what's his first name? Last name's Mifune from all the Kurosawa films.
oh yeah, sure,
He wanted to cast him as Obi-Wan,
right.
and you know there have always been you get to the age when you have power and you look
Right.
at the people that you grew up on or you become friends with and you throw them bones. I mean,
Right.
or you force someone who doesn't want to be in it to be in it, and then they end up being one of the best performances ever.
Oh gosh, Bill Burr
Favreau with Bill Burr. Yeah,
that's a classic move right there.
Yeah.
Classic Favreau.
good stuff. All right, we have some topics we want to get into that we mentioned last night. We would a lot of those just end up as part of the Den of Antiquities. So we could get straight into that, or we could talk about this thing real quick with Google mentioning, if you do a search if you just Google Skeleton Crew characters, not Skeleton Crew cast, but Skeleton Crew characters, you get how Google has like those like kind of smart results that
Right.
just in the main thing give you some results that aren't directly from a web page or whatever. Though all those little icons, it lists the majority of the characters, and then one that is, it's the what is it species, the woman that tries to help the kids. They think she's trying to kidnap. She has the horns and the blue skin, right?
Yeah, they're called oh shoot. Hang on, I gotta look it up.
No, Jackie was
It's Thielen,
one, right?
It's a Thielen. Yeah,
Right.
Jackie from Acolyte. A Thielen. They're the ones with the spikes on the kind of top of
I
their
feel in
forehead.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Got no regrets right now. I looked it up.
So she's played by Haley Webb, but on Google, Haley Webb's character is Jedi Nina Nawood. Jad Na Nawood. Nina
What?
Nawood. Jedi Nina Nawood.
What?
So, are we thinking that character, that's an alias, just like we would assume Jad Na Nawood is the real name and Captain, what is it, Captain Steve-O or something? What is his name?
Who?
Would they refer
Silvio?
to him in the cold open?
Yes.
Silvio.
Yeah,
Silvio, yeah.
that's an alias,
Yep.
right? And his real name is Jad Na Nawood.
Mhm.
Could she be also using an alias, and she's actually Jedi Nina Nawood, his ex?
Sure.
Possible.
It's possible. I like the idea. It is also possible though that like her agency that represents her also put that out there. I think it's not crazy to think that like Jeremy Bullock was a ship captain or was one of the pilots of one of the ships. He was also Boba Fett.
Mhm.
We have seen, especially I don't know if Chris Bartlett has played two droids in one scene. But someone like Chris Bartlett is a physical actor, has played multiple characters they might just assume that under the makeup, this person might just look completely different outside of that crazy makeup. So that her character might be someone later in a reveal or a flashback or something. But I like the idea of continuation with this species that the Thielens are. I don't know if it's force sensitive, but we would see another non-human force sensitive Jedi would be cool.
I like that.
Right.
That's what I'm crossing my fingers for. That the kids have their relationship. That friendship is the love, the core, of love and connection that you need. But it's classic Star Wars to put some kind of love interest there, and if it's a broken relationship with these two former Jedi. Like, I think that's really exciting. So I would love for that to be real.
Right.
But we'll see. Den of Antiquities. You guys want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
For over 1,000 generations.
It is the dark saber, Torgon.
Oh gosh.
It's a Kalikori.
A Sith Wayfinder.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
Oh, it's dense.
Oh, it's dense.
So much density.
I love when we get to play with these little sound effects. Again, it means that we've got new Star Wars.
Mhm.
I
Yes,
like
sir.
it. I like it.
Mike, you want to take the wheel,
Let's get
Of
into
the
this
ship.
a little bit.
the helm?
Okay, so the cold open, as we've said, is a little bit last night, is an homage to the opening of A New Hope. You've got the classic planet, starry sky, and then you see that there's two ships in some kind of conflict, celestial conflict, as we've come to appreciate this franchise for. The Republic ship or New Republic ship, the era that we're in, kind of seemed like it was a modified Corvette.
Mhm.
If everyone else agrees with that, but it's got the big, the thrusters on the back, and so I thought that was pretty cool and shockingly violent in how they boarded that ship. But it's very,
Mhm.
if you know how pirates or naval warfare used to be, that was kind of how they would board the ship, as they would throw these huge grappling hooks over the side and basically just traverse across. Pretty amazing.
Throw
So,
planks over. You
right,
know, walk.
right. Get the ship as close as you can and then just
Yeah.
run across it. So yeah, they kind of did this in the same way. Pretty amazing. And also the crews to go and just completely destroy their what would you call those, like the guns, defense gunners or whatever, the turrets on the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
Mhm.
All of a sudden the the spacemen just flew out. I'm like, oh, okay, they know
It's like
what
a
they're doing.
version of, going to, the cannon ports and throwing,
Yeah.
a Molotov in there or something.
Yeah, exactly. So the bad guys come in, and then we can see that at this point, what's his name? What's Jude Law's character's name?
Silvio.
Silvio's got this great helmet. I think everyone could see that it was clearly Jude Law. And then to find out that if calls bluffs on the ship's officer and says, if this is a bulk freighter, then why is your vault magnetically sealed? So everyone's assuming we're going to make some money. You're lying to us. And then, of course, the captain gives the decree of the New Republic. I forbid all Jedi to be here, blah, blah, blah. And like everyone laughs at him, which I thought was great. This is kind of like your laws don't apply here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, finding out that the big bad is actually Captain Brutus. And I believe at one point, I don't know how is he ship co-captain? How do we do this? What is this? First mate?
First mate. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I would say so. So Brutus is not happy with the fact that the magnetically sealed bulk freighter only holds 1 credit. So I think that's how it goes.
But the thing here that you're kind of glossing over is how much it is exactly like A New Hope.
In terms of we
way
came here for the stolen plans. What have you done? Picks up the officer
by the throat. If this is a consular ship, then where is the ambassador? If this is a bulk freighter,
Sure.
why is your vault magnetically sealed? Even the way it's blocked and composed. The defending troops or whatever.
The stormtroopers come through the tube, just like the
Exactly.
pirates come through the tube.
Side by side, it's
right.
It's pretty crazy. It's
Right.
It's great.
So to find out there, so we're at that point. SM33, of course, if you're looking for SM33, you could flip those 2 3s around and you get Smee, which is Captain Hook's first mate in Peter Pan. I think we all remember the movie Pan and how important Smee was to Captain Hook. When SM33 is listing planet names to help find the kid's home planet, he mentions Tolan. I always spelled
Adelon, I think.
Adelon.
But that was where they had the base, one of the bases in Star Wars Rebels.
It's basically that's where they like relocated, right?
Yes, and then eventually
yeah.
Chopper Base, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
was Chopper Base on?
Either way, they spent a
Which
ton
one
of
had
time
this?
there.
Which one had the crick now? The spiders. It's been a while. I think that's
Was it that one?
Yeah, let's let the Discord chew that one up.
Yeah, because I remember looking through the appearances on Wikipedia, and Twilight of the Apprentice was on there, so they would have been flashing back and forth between, right?
Yeah,
Or they would have left there. I'm not piecing it together in my head, but it's
I
got
just
to be
remember
that
this. I just remember the spiders, and I thought for some reason that was it, and then they called it Chopper Bay. Anyways, and then it mentions Eldani, which I think everyone remembers is probably one of the most gorgeous visual episodes of all Star Wars. The Eye of Eldani, which is the solar storm that happens above the planet after Sinticass.
And then what is? But then what does SM33 call it? Like a stinky bog planet or something?
Yeah, which is scary. Like, what's up with that?
Well, because it was Scottish Highlands, right? I think was where they filmed that. And so either that's what they wanted, that's what the Empire says that it is, or after the Empire abandons it, it's just farmland. It's just marshy farmland. And so for a droid that happens to rust and, doesn't do well in moist environments, I could see how he would be a little bit dramatic, because he does seem to favor the theatrics in the sense of going, you must, duel to the death. Okay. I love that. So the other thing that I think is great, let's talk about this for a second. Neil's siblings watching the Dancer Hollow from the holiday special, when Itchy is sitting here and he gets this weird little, this 8-bit track, and these dancers come out and they've got this, what would you call this?
I don't know. Or no, this is the thing Lumpy's watching. This isn't in the headset. This is on the table. And when Lumpy, like,
yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. But it's in the same weirdness. Both of them.
It's goofy as hell.
And it is quite literally when John Watts was saying we had to redo the costumes. And this is actually a few things that people have bought. One of the collectors. Yeah, here we go. Right here. These are one of the few things of the original Star Wars. Like, if I remember, Rick Baker or a big studio. I actually think Stan Winston did the Wookiees of the holiday special, and they're so terrifying.
Yeah.
But these costumes specifically, I'm not sure if they also came out of Stan Winston Studios or
the
wherever.
Turkey feathers coming off the butt and the head.
Just crazy. Just a vibe for sure. But they actually have these costumes. Someone owns these costumes. So they basically remade them and then redid the choreography of this to bring it back out. So for people who obviously have come to appreciate the holiday special and all its weirdness, I have a poster of it up on my wall. This was funny. I did laugh at this. So there we go. Weirdness comes back to Star Wars.
I love it.
I have to believe that George Lucas was like, "Are you guys serious? Are you guys serious with this?"
I didn't write that.
At this point, release the holiday special Disney Plus. We're ready for it. People are getting too chummy with Skeleton Crew. Release the holiday special. Let's go to the next one. We've got a fun little detail there for all you Star Tours out there. The RX droid bus driver. Our Star Tours is RX-24, which is the original style of this droid that has the bobbing head. Tells you to get off the ride. And Galaxy's Edge, of course, as we know him as DJ RX. There he is. DJ Rex, spinning the ones and twos. This is a familiar, at this point now, I think all taxi, it seemingly most shuttle droids, I think at this point in Star Wars seem to have this general adaptation. Of course, our friends Sarah and Steven of Princess and Skywalker put one together. We had him at Mosh. I can't remember if they named their droid, but this is a familiar style. This is pretty funny. So I think for people who appreciate this Easter egg can see it. we're one step closer to Galaxy's Edge. One step closer. Ponji, how do you say this again? Ponji Falfa?
Bonge
Flafa.
Bonge Falfa.
Falfa. I don't know. The racer who taunts
This guy up here.
This guy, right? With that patch. I do like his jacket, Mr. Steve McQueen there. The racer who taunts Fern is named as an homage to nefarious hot rodder, Bob Falfa, played by Harrison Ford in American Graffiti, George's first feature film in which got him the trust to do Star Wars and funded himself. Little known fact.
Hey, one of these scenes, and I know it's not on here, and I saw Eric Voss from New Rockstars pointed this out. There was a diner in one of these kind of speeder scenes that the Arabesh spelt Mel's. So that's another reference to American Graffiti.
That's sweet.
And then there's like there's an adjacent thing where what is the waitress's name? Whatever the waitress's name is in American Graffiti is the name of the server droid in Attack of the Clones in the diner there. I don't know, Pam or some shit.
Flo.
Is it
Flo?
Donna?
Wait,
Is
is
it
it Flo?
I don't know.
It might be.
Waitresses in nostalgic diners are normally named Flo.
Well,
Excuse me, Flo?
sounds good to me. We're gonna roll with that one.
Yeah, sounds good.
Definitely Flo.
Wim's datapad has a slide with a Jedi standing in front of a temple with a circular symbol on it, which looks like the door of the ship. Interesting. Very interesting here.
So do we want to take a moment now to talk about this and then get into the datapad translation right here just to talk about like what this planet is and this whole shit, like get back into it that we were talking about last night?
I mean, let's get in the datapad if we're talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into it because we're interested in this. First of all, I think seeing more data pads in comparison to Deidre Miro's, you can see that this one feels like if you have an iPad, if that's what the Imperials are using, this is like the knockoff version of, this is like it almost seems to have limited, I want to say like limited features. Like he's punching it. It almost reminds me of those old, what were those called? Those rotoscopes or stereoscopes?
Damn it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, the red ones with the round.
Yeah. He's like, because when Wim's sitting
Vision.
there, yeah, Panavision. Right, I can remember. But like he's
Fartivision
like
Viewmaster. There we go. Thank you, Physics Buddy Joe.
It's like he's like punching that thing when he's looking at, you know what I mean? It seems to, I can't tell if it's like a full, data pad where he can plug into things. It doesn't seem like it is because
it's like a kid's kind of thing. Like what was hit clips like in the early 2000s? You would have just like one bit of a song that you would put in it's not a real MP3 player, but it does. Yeah. And this has like almost like Walkman or like old school like classroom tape recorder buttons at the top.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. So I think this is interesting, but let's get into the data pad. Do you have this lined up, Adam?
It is. I don't have it on screen, but we'll just read this while you read.
This first one is pretty, like, this is the one that I think is the most interesting, which leads to the last point in Den of Antiquities here.
Right. So let's start with this.
Yeah, I'll read this one. The cave of shadow was dark and ominous, but Lena was not afraid. She ignited her lightsaber, its blue glow lighting up the darkness, ready for what lay ahead. So Lena So was a High Republic Jedi.
The Chancellor. Yep. She's the Chancellor.
So there you go. Like that's a pretty big tell. Like I think that we're talking about something here. There's something about this planet that is hidden, or they're I mean, I guess hidden is the best word, right? Like what else could we say? They refer to the barrier a lot. There are some little, that one scene, I don't know if it was in 1 or 2, where they just kind of pan up to the sky and the cloud formations are a little weird. And then there are also red dots in the sky.
Right.
I thought about this. I was so mad because Eric Voss brought it up in his video, which I'm sure 10 million people saw already. But I was like, I wonder if there's a Truman Show thing going on here.
Yeah.
Because there's so much like past their suburbia just looks so picture perfect,
Right.
And I'm like, that combined with the sky, combined with just like there is some sort of sense of control here. And I'm like, I really do wonder if there's a Truman Show aspect here, which would be a really cool reference.
And they're like an island, they're like a forgotten island, or like a version of like Silo, if anyone's watching that.
Yeah.
Where it's self-contained and it could be left and forgotten. And if there's no contact to or from the outside world, here we are, however many 100 years later after the High Republic, because it's not like he's reading about, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn and
exactly.
and Ahsoka Tano. This is High Republic stuff. So they've been out on their own for, 200 years at this point?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So
continue. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I would say for Lena, now Lena wasn't a Jedi according to the High Republic. She was a politician, basically. Almost think like she's the chancellor of Valo or of the Republic. The other reference to this is the Great Work, and the Great Work refers to a organized effort to unite the core worlds, which is Coruscant, often referenced as traveling in and out of in the High Republic. And for people who are curious about the High Republic, by the time we see Acolyte, that's about getting to the end of the High Republic. High Republic is about 200, 250, 300 years before where we see the Phantom Menace. It's a time where the Jedi they're basically full on militarized. They're, they still have that legacy to them of like who they are as the arbiters of truth and justice and all the world. But they are celebrated, and they're kind of, I would say, peak hubris at this point. But it's a time of great wealth and connectivity, and hyperspace travel is a huge part of this. And so part of the Great Work is uniting the core worlds to the Outer Rim for access. And this, of course, as you can imagine, connecting core worlds to the Outer Rim makes a lot of people really rich. And her big thing is Starlight Beacon. Starlight Beacon is essentially a giant space station it has life. People can live in it. It's basically a community that all different ships can come into and almost think you're living inside of a small planet of Starlight Beacon. The great hyperspace disaster is a ship is traveling through hyperspace, and they run into this group called the Nihil, which, for people going, tell me about the Nihil, there's literally, Nihil are basically pirates. They're ravagers, they're scavengers, and you could very well call them they're not scoundrels. They're not willing to come to the table. They're an insane group of people. And so you could say that the Nihil are basically pre-pirates. So there's this long legacy of, they're incredibly they backstab each other all the time. They're incredibly power hungry. They have very loose organization. But what's interesting too is that Fern says, oh, my grandfather said the gas in the mines made people go crazy. And the Nihil used a weapon called War Cloud that would make people pass out. It was basically like mustard gas. And that's what they would use to confuse people. They would shoot it out of their ships, and they would wear these crazy masks that would make it so that they weren't affected by it. And that made them very devastating in that regard. So there's something High Republic-y of what she's saying, and the fact that this treasure the ship has been buried for so long, makes me think that there's something here, and this might just be part of the story of setting it up. So let's keep that in mind. It could be interesting, certainly.
Well, Nick, read the last two lines of this translation.
Where it says they meditated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So they meditated together, their connection to the Force and to each other growing stronger. They were a beacon of light in the darkness. And when the galaxy called for heroes, the Valiant Order did not hesitate. Their fortress rose back up to the surface, and they stood ready to fight for justice and peace.
So the beacon language and the for light and life and all of that.
Right.
Mike, you've probably read more High Republic stuff than either of us.
Yep.
Is that just kind of like the language they use, or is using beacon here?
I think it's intentional.
Is there something else?
I think it's intentional. I think because Starlight represented when the Nihil actually won. I mean, they attack the grand city of Valo, has a World's Fair. It's where they're celebrating all these great accomplishments that they've done, and the Nihil attack that. And then the Nihil get to a point where they kind of reveal their grand plan. They're led by this pretty sinister guy named Markion Ro, who has this ancient weapon that basically eliminates any Force user. It's terrifying. And so eventually they get to Starlight Beacon, and they do in fact destroy Starlight Beacon. So this is peak
spoiler. I didn't get that far yet.
Okay. Well, you can see it on the picture. The Starlight Beacon's on fire. You can figure it out. So anyway, so I think this was intentional to put beacon as a word, because they could have used a lot of different words. And if you read, I mean, let's read the rest of these translations, because there's other interesting things in here. So Nick, you just did the first Ryan, which was ready for whatever lay ahead. The second one is, suddenly the Sith appeared before her in dark robes and a red lightsaber. You should not have come here, he hissed, his voice echoing through the cave. Who else has said that?
You should not have come back.
That's a Vader quote right there.
It's also like the way this is written, it's so High Republic, and the way it's like soft propaganda,
Sure. Oh yeah,
like saying the Sith, hissed back,
right?
Like they're really painting them as like these monsters.
Yeah.
Which many of them are. Let's be honest, but it's interesting.
So Druin packed his bag with everything he might need and set off on his adventure. The Hidaka forest was beautiful with tall trees and bright, colorful flowers. Druin felt the force flowing through everything around him. First, Druin came across the ruined hut of a wood chopper. The place had been abandoned, the axe left behind, cleft into the stump of an old tree. The vines of the forest had grown back and overwhelmed everything. Next, Druin came across the paddock of a herder who was long gone, run off into the forest or eaten by the beast. But from their old food grew a strange, beautiful flower. Finally, Druin felt a strong presence in the forest. He knew that he was getting close to the fearsome beast. He took out his lightsaber and held it ready as the beast lunged out of the forest and loomed over him. Now, this image, I believe, is reminiscent of a video game, Star Wars Force Unleashed, because it's a Rancor, if I remember correctly, in the image. And the Rancor in the Force Unleashed is like a battle Rancor. It's basically like they would battle them just like chicken fighting. And they had painted these like war stripes on them to kind of look in the game that you're Starkiller, you fight him. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That was kind of a little throwback there. I'll continue. The knights decided to build a temple fortress. Using the force, they lifted and shaped the rocks around them, creating the soaring towers of their new home. The knights decided, the entire fortress could lower into the ground, hiding it from sight during times of danger. With their fortress complete, the Jedi Knights found peace and solace. They meditated together, their connection to the Force and each other growing stronger. They were a beacon of light in the darkness. When the galaxy called for heroes, the valiant order did not hesitate. What other temple disappears into the ground?
Lothal.
Bingo. What does it all mean? What
does it
What does it mean?
I just think it's great, just the little swerve that we've had from the trailer to now this. And also thanks to Alex Damon for translating all of that.
That's right.
So I just love we saw that he was looking at these data pads and looking at Jedis, and we kind of just assumed, especially with that Rancor image, that we were like, oh, they're telling a story with Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi. And their only reference to Jedi right now, they're talking about High Republic Jedi. That's very, very interesting.
Right. So, and I think
it.
we're getting, I think what's been hard, we're getting into these points of Old Republic. We talked about this a little bit off air and a little bit in the Patreon on Discord. Old Republic, when Wim takes out those little credits and that bartender's like, where'd you get these Old Republic credits, right? It's very easy for us to think Old Republic of the way that we know Star Wars of Knights of the Old Republic. But the credits they included for everyone that showed up to that event last night, they included this little sticker pack and they had Wim's credits as a sticker. The logo that's printed into the little ingot is a Republic logo. It's not High Republic Jedi. We've seen High Republic Jedi in the Acolyte. Their logo is symmetrical. It looks more like a flower than it does a star with a beam. So I feel like that Republic logo was definitely Clone Wars era.
So when they say Old Republic credits, like those old credits from the Republic, lowercase old.
Yes. Which still for them is 20, 25 years, 30 years. Right. So it's like finding if someone was to give you a $2 bill, you're like, where'd you get this old thing? Right.
Yeah. Well, anything pre-Empire is old, but inherently.
Right. Exactly. And especially for a place that seems to not really deal with a lot of, again, same thing. It's like, even when if you're imagine yourself walking around in a different country and you give someone $100 bill, a crisp $100 bill, and it's like, what is this? Right. Or you could imagine it's the same way that we look at, Roman coins or any of the old currency from, it has a different feel to it. Right. It's real metal. It just looks different. So I think that's where that came from. I know that a lot of people are like Old Republic, but they've put so many, I don't know if they're like intentionally messing with fans who are going to sit here and translate this stuff just to throw us off the trail because it's fun. And that's a very Filoni thing to do. But I certainly would, I would certainly say that I appreciate that we are 2 episodes in and our speculation is off the charts.
Deep.
Love it.
We're not just pulling this out of our asses though. Someone put a lot of time into writing this. This
100%.
Isn't, just someone just on their keyboard a bunch of nonsense. This was well written. All right, let's get back.
His father was Jaster Muriel.
Let's skip back and do the remaining few in the den and start to get on our way to wrapping it up here. We left off with the logo on the door of the ship, right?
Yep. So we're at Borgo.
Mike or Nick, you want to take it from there? Borgo
you want me to take over, Mike, or you want to finish this up?
I can do it. We're fine with that.
Let's go.
Borgo Prime, also known as Starport Borgo or Port Borgo, comes from the legends. Junior Jedi Knights, Vader's Fortress, mentioned, and the Young Jedi Knights, Shadow Academy. So Port Borgo is a reoccurring, already established Star Wars place of lore.
A whole bunch of other ones too. These are just the main 2 that I grabbed.
Yep. And of course, looking in the back here, this is where we had in our initial kind of breakdown in the trailer. We were like, are those Y-wing thrusters in the back? Is that someone was like, is that Hondo ship there? There's all kinds of stuff here. So they didn't hang on anything for too long. I thought maybe we would have got a little a little Easter egg there, but we didn't really see anything besides the Hut logo.
Yeah.
Getting tattooed.
I was just waiting. I was just waiting for the camera to just hit Honda. I was just waiting. I was like, come on, just do it right now. So like we could all freak out. And
like as the whole, as they're running away and all the pirates are scurrying around, all of a sudden you see some guy up on a couch, right? He kind of looks over, you'd be like, oh boy, here we go. I think that's coming. Anyways, Fuzzball, the ships or these little animals in captivity that fly in a very odd way. It's almost like they float. Very odd. Is from Captain EO, which was Disney's version of a galactic space adventure starring Michael Jackson.
Written by George Lucas.
Written by George Lucas, because Michael Jackson really, really, really wanted to be in Star Wars. And so, when you got a guy, the biggest pop star in the world, this is basically like Taylor Swift looking at Jon Favreau and going, how are we going to make this work? And Jon Favreau's like, we're just going to make a whole new thing. It's going to be called Barbarella. So these little fuzzy characters right here are from did they have names, official names? I'm sure StarWars.com is going to release kind of an official name for them.
I mean, on StarWars.com, it's just referred to as Fuzzball.
Okay, sure, that works. A classic Fuzzball. The little creature at the dock is a teak.
The ferryman.
The ferryman, which is first seen in the Battle for Endor. There they go. A teak right there.
Not to be confused with teak.
A teak.
I
don't like these characters.
They're so creepy.
They are very creepy. Yeah, and I know they're good, but at this point, I would much rather take a hey.
Yeah, I'd much rather not.
What's their species? I'm having a brain fart. It's late. It's
Anzellan.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. The character in the pirate crew that we were laughing at looks it looks exactly like one of Zuvio's crew from the Nema Outpost militia members from The Force Awakens. Now, the story behind Constable Zuvio is that this was one of the scenes that was cut. But I think, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was in the Force Awakens trailer, right?
I don't remember, but really
in the background somewhere, right? Still,
I'm not sure.
I think so, but this character had enough going on for him that he has an action figure. There is a Black Series 6-inch action figure of a character that got cut, which then became a peg warmer because people watched the movie and said, where is this guy? I'm not buying that. I'm returning it.
It's like one of the first ones they released. It was like within the first 10 was like, oh, I'm going to buy Finn. I'm going to buy Rey. Constable Zuvio. It's going to be so sick.
Nothing happened. This guy just got cut. So it's nice.
So Nick, you had this, right?
Oh, I got them all, baby.
Yeah. That was the original.
Like, you have the Constable himself and then one of these others?
No, they only made Constable.
They only made Zuvio. So it's nice to see that these militia members are getting a little love and that they've been busy because, come on. Or again, once again, is this another connection getting us to The Force Awakens?
Yeah. I mean, that's the exact same armor.
Right. That's
the
painted and everything. Yeah. So they just left that and said that these guys are good. And they are. They're amazing. The dancer in the front of the club. Now, Adam, bless your heart, because Nick and I were like, that's a strip club. And you were like, is that what strip clubs look like? And I was like, buddy, at this point, at Port Borgo, you're too sweet to be walking around in there. The dancer in front of the club is just like one of the dancers from Jabba's palace, Yarn Dialgargan. Oh, yeah. And everyone remembers her. I mean, how do you
She can move.
How do you forget, if you know what I mean? So I'm thinking there's a couple other things we missed. Like I said, I couldn't remember if it was a Nikto or someone was getting a Hut tattoo on their arm. That 3 trident. And there's a couple other Easter eggs in there that I think are kind of inconsequential, but all in all,
the tattoo droid was in that droid style was in Jabba's palace.
Right.
sure.
And also most notably Book of Boba Fett that
Mhm.
was the, the server droid, and also they chop up the
Yeah.
it's translators, but then also had the cleavers and blah blah blah.
That was the droid that checked 3PO and R2 in
Yes.
and basically said, like, you work for Jabba now, right?
Right. And that one was all like tatted up too, which I thought was kind of funny. It's like
But like soldered on.
100%.
notice?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You're like,
yeah.
never trust a tattoo artist that doesn't have tattoos, So I thought that was kind of funny. But I think if we go back again and rewatch specifically for, there's all kinds of other little details in there. So all in all, I mean, we are off to a tremendous start. This is a treat for Star Wars fans, and most importantly, getting new people into a new adventure without needing to know all this lore, because again, we're over here translating Arbesh because that's the kind of fans we are. But if you're just watching it, you're like, okay, cool. Wim's just like every other kid. This is basically his Game Boy, his iPad. He's an iPad kid. Wow, amazing.
Another iPad kid.
Right. Also, like, Wendell, just read to your kid, man. He just asked for a story. Just read.
That was rough.
What's the
Aren't
problem?
you a little old for stories?
Oh my gosh. How's that?
Aren't you a little checked out for a dad?
Oh, bro.
Boom, got him.
Got him.
I want to mention something that is probably just bad audio, but I want to mention it just in case. When Wendell comes out of like the office where Wim is like in trouble, listen to that audio, how it's recorded, and it sounds like real like MIDI and strange. Like it's probably a bad VO, if I had to guess.
It's definitely a voiceover, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, is it bad on purpose? Like, is nothing real? Is this Truman Show? Is he not who he said? Like, I don't know. There's just something. It's probably just a bad VO.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. And that's okay.
Because I listened to I watch everything with headphones, so I noticed that right away. I was like,
I noticed it last night. I was just like, what's going on here?
It's like, oh, you went back and re-recorded that. You want to get into the bingo card?
Bingo. I don't think we got any.
No, yes, we did. Oh, no.
We had some things that we could talk about. So,
well.
We'll leave it up to the patrons to
patrons
be generous to us.
Be generous to
maybe
us. We'll
one.
be generous to you.
Jules, you know what they say.
So do you want me to just... Oh, my God. Where did it go? Boomer.
How about that? Look what I did, Nick.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I have this other one. Pulled it. All right.
Bingo card.
Should I just read them from left to right?
Well, let's focus on the ones that we feel like maybe we could get away with, or we would ask for generosity from the.
Well, we got free space.
Nailed it. Nailed free space.
All right.
I mean, do we get the Huts because the guy's getting the Hut tattoo? I mean, we're establishing that the Huts are still around. I mean, are we? I say no.
Well, Nick,
I don't know.
What do you think here?
I would say no.
Because we just said Huts, and the way we talked about it, I don't know, patrons. Just
it's
not
a
logo.
It's not a visual, and it's not a mention. It's not like an audio mention.
Oh, the patrons are talking right now. I could tell this probably isn't going to go great, and that's fine. Take a win when you can. If Physics Buddy Joe is being very generous, he wants to see us all get a bingo.
Listen, if we got that one, then we got this other one that you guys said no to, which was the Skywalker saga, Planet from a Skywalker saga.
Yeah, Nato Potato says agreed. Hut logo counts. So we got Huts, baby.
All right, we're getting Huts.
We'll take it.
There we go.
All right.
Then here's our next thing.
Planet from the Skywalker saga. Is Aldani not part of the Skywalker saga?
Yeah. I mean, it's within the timeline.
It is.
There's not much that's outside of the timeline.
I feel like
there's not much that's outside of the Skywalker.
Why don't we circle it with pencil?
Okay.
Why don't we circle it with pencil?
We'll give it a yellow, not a green.
Exactly, because I think like at some point I have a feeling they're going to want to mention Hoth, Mustafar, something, right? Like there's got to be something. So maybe
I think that's okay. A hut logo counts, but a planet from, I mean, we had Aldani and Adelon. Those are both in the story of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, Adelon, what did we say that was?
Rebels.
from Rebels.
Rebels.
I mean,
that's right there.
To me, I mean, Aldani is like you can't,
Oh, hey, Leia is in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
That has to count.
Well, it's true. Leia's also at the end of Rogue One, and Aldani is a, I mean, yeah, and that's true. That's true. Leia is in. Let's see. Oh, so is Anakin. That's true. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Support from the patrons.
I know it's a patron. We are our own worst enemy here. The
Patron
patrons
support
are the
never
ones
ends.
who are like, guys, you're good. Just put the check on it. Take the little cleared marker. Just put it right on there. See how it feels. See if you like it.
What about this? The ship that the kids find is pre-High Republic. Nick, you're insisting.
I don't think we know yet. I'm ready to. I'll wait.
Okay.
Why did we say pre-High Republic?
I was just thinking old.
High Republic.
Old.
It's an old wooden ship.
Old wooden ship.
Right. I don't think the station cares much about an old wooden ship, Ron.
Hey, the Walkman style music player. Is there something on Neil's belt that you guys thought looked a little Walkmanish? He's got a few things on his belt. I was really looking.
They're playing music.
I mean, he didn't have headphones or anything, but he's got a bunch of stuff on his belt. I don't know.
Let's wait and see.
Walkie-talkie for sure.
Yeah, the walkie-talkie.
No
yeah,
headphones.
I don't think so. It doesn't count.
Okay. Well, those are ones to watch. We'll put it that way. On the nose Goonies reference. I mean, everything in when they got in the ship and
trying the hats on.
They're trying on hats. They're sitting around like with the skeletons and Wim's going through all the stuff.
I mean, Chunk puts on the hat. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of feel like,
that whole scene, and I forgot who mentioned it, maybe Screen Crush. It is very much like the scene when they finally sit down at the table with the skeletons and all the booty on the table.
I'm going to say so. I'd say so. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So
we're going to get the Huts logo. I mean, the Huts logo kind of spun us out of this whole thing.
So we'll say a firm yes on the Goonies, on the nose Goonies reference. An appreciative yes, thank you for the credit on the Huts one. And a pretty solid planet from the Skywalker saga mention. I don't know. I still don't feel great about that.
Yeah.
Like I'm pushing for it, but
we've also never won bingo. So
we're not going to with a lot of the stuff that's on here.
Hey, another Mos Eisley Cantina alien scene. Any of those pirates?
Snaggletooth. He was in there. You can see him when you look past.
Okay.
When you look past Jude Law's character right in the beginning, Snaggletooth from Cantina's in there. So yeah, that's also one. Okay,
so maybe looking at this on that line, left to right, starting with another Mos Eisley Cantina alien scene, Hondo appears. If we get Hondo, which is decent chance, maybe, and then a Walkman, Han Solo mention, or Chewbacca, and then the Hutts.
Or we get Mos Eisley Cantina, Planet from Skywalker, legit lightsaber. We see a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3. Kids learn about the Galactic Civil War in school. I think we're done with school at this point.
I think we're done with school.
It's kind of frustrating.
What if
surprise cameo by a well-known non-Star Wars actor is entirely on the table.
Yeah. What if it ends with them back in school and they've since reconnected to the rest of the galaxy, and part of like the payoff at the end is that they're learning about all the history they missed.
Mm-hmm. That's a way to do it.
All right. All right. Big time finger crossing session going on right here.
Give me the next week. Just
Same,
give me the
dude.
next week.
Jason Chiodo, don't you dare send any of us anything even resembling a spoiler in the slightest.
Yeah. He did
right.
tell me something, and that's important.
No, you love spoilers, don't you?
Well, just try to see what I'm trying to get myself prepared for what's coming. Right.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do an after show thing from the chat pack. We have a few. Where in our galaxy would you go if you could travel by hyperspace? I don't know. We have to know too much about our own galaxy there. Which Star Wars character would you want as your ship's co-pilot? Have we already done that one? We've done that one.
We have.
They have some duplicates here. Imagine you have your own Star Cruiser to leisurely cruise the galaxy and host all your friends and family. What would you name it and why? We haven't done that, right?
We have not done that.
Let's do that one. The category is technology because it's a ship. Patrons, we're going to start doing this. We're going to start doing a little extra than what we've already been doing this. We've been in the post on Patreon putting this in here and asking you to leave your answers in the comments. You rarely do. It seems like folks talk about it in Discord a little bit. But let's say if you leave your answer to these questions in the comments on Patreon, we will read a couple on the actual show right before we read the next week, and we'll wrap up every episode with that. So leave your answers to this question in the comments on Patreon, and enjoy us talking about it in the bonus segment for patrons after we press stop for everyone else. Good times. Stoked on this new show. Can't wait to get to next week. Dudes, I'm so happy to be talking to you about Star Wars.
It's fun.
It's awesome right now, given everything else that blows.
Feels
so much.
good. Feels good to like it and have fun, and that vibe is there. I hope they go back to their planet because I want to see those houses more.
Hell yeah.
I'm all about the houses.
Planning it out. Planet it out.
Zillow gone wild. All right, everyone. Thanks again for watching and listening. And until next week, may the Force be with you. If you enjoy Thank the Maker, you can support us by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, our recording live stream, and more. Our patrons quite literally make Thank the Maker possible.